right, welcome to Bounce Back Stories. I am Ben Shepherd. This is episode 1 and I'm joined by Laura Dale. We're going to talk about returning to running after giving birth. First, hello Laura, are you okay?
Hi. Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good,
how are you?
Good. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. So speak to us first then about the family situation. How many kids have you got at this point?
So I am a mum of 5. So yeah, I've got a real range. I've got a 19-year-old,
Okay.
18-year-old, 3-year-old, 18-month, and then my most recent one, she turns 6 weeks tomorrow. So got my hands full, as people often tell me.
So I feel like you're probably a very good person to speak about this because you've gone through it more than once. Talk to me then about your love of running in general. When did that start and sort of how long have you been running for now?
Okay, so I first got into running back in 2014.
Okay.
And it started with my mum had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was like, right, I need to think of a way that I can help and sort of be proactive and do something to help, her and also myself. And so I just sort of looked up a few charity runs, signed up, and then, as every runner knows, you just fall in love with it. So what started with fundraising and a way of raising money for cancer research just turned into a full-on love, and that's how I got to know the guys at RunThrough as well, was just attending their events, and now I work for them. So yeah.
How was it then when obviously, because you will have had kids before you started running and you will have had kids obviously since you've started running.
Yeah.
How was it different in that process of then having to kind of slow down and not run for a little bit and then come back to running afterwards? What was that like after having found running and then having to kind of just relax, take your foot off the gas a little bit?
Frustrating is definitely the word. Yeah. But I noticed a massive difference in terms of my general health. So when I had my first 2, I was younger, but I wasn't fit. I didn't do any exercise. Whereas with the 3 that I've had since, I've noticed like running really helped me prepare for the pregnancy and the labour and everything. So it was frustrating when I had to take a step back and sort of slow down, not beat myself up that I wasn't as fast as I was before and things like that. So yeah, you have to listen to your body, but it was very frustrating to do. So, yeah.
In terms of trimester to trimester then, what's the journey through the trimesters like with being able to run and not being able to run? Like how does that work?
With running, it wasn't too bad in terms of I was able to run throughout all 3 trimesters. It was just learning that you're going to have to slow it down and sort of not run as hard, which, is sort of, as an independent woman, you're like, I can do this. And, you suddenly have to be like, oh, okay, maybe I can't do it as much. But I'd say the most exhausting was the first trimester, because you're going through so many different hormonal changes. A lot of the time you haven't told friends or family, so you don't sort of have that support and understanding. People are a bit like, hang on, why are you exhausted? What's wrong with you? So yeah, I think that was the hardest for me. And then second trimester, that's when you sort of get your energy boost back. So, I was a bit like, oh, yep, I'm back to me again. So that's a good one for running. You sort of, have your energy back and your little get up and go. And then bam, third trimester hits and your lungs are squeezed right up in you're like up to what feels like your neck. And that's when you have to sort of take the step back of, you've learned that you can't run as far or as fast because you just don't have the lung capacity. It sort of really takes it out of you.
When you were kind of going through that process, was it something that you spoke to people about? Did you know people that you had conversations with about kind of like what the best thing to do is, or was it very much like listening to your own body and kind of doing what your body said?
So I'd sort of talk about it with my midwife at like the routine appointments. Like they're really good at sort of telling you like what you can and can't do. But like you said, to be honest, it is listening to your own body. Like every woman's different, every pregnancy is different. I've had 5 pregnancies and they've all been completely different. So it is mainly listening to your body and what you feel you can and can't do. You know, if you're pushing yourself too much, you sort of take a step back. But yeah, there is loads of advice out there in terms of people to reach out to. I found social media really helpful. So I'd like search up like running groups and stuff and mum related fitness to sort of give me a guide of what other people were doing. So you can sort of see what you can do for yourself.
And then post-pregnancy, you've welcomed a new little one into the world, and you know that's stressful and exciting and everything all in one. When does your kind of your focus turn to coming back to running and starting to think about starting to do that thing for yourself and your health and your fitness again? When does your mind first go back to, look, I want to start doing this?
In all honesty, with me, it never left me.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So literally, as soon as I'd given birth, I was like, right, when can I get back out? And that's where the frustration starts again of you have to be sensible. Like they give you a guide of, you have like a post-pregnancy check at 6 to 8 weeks. And that's when they sort of guide you as to do not do any exercise, no running until you've had that check, just to make sure that your body's all okay and can handle it. So yeah, with like my 18-month-old, I started running back, I'd say 2 months post-pregnancy.
Okay.
And what helped me was my partner was training for the London Marathon. So he sort of helped get me out of the house and gave me that motivation to sort of go for a run. Because as much as you have that love for running, you are exhausted from having a newborn. You do have like, you know, the risk of postnatal depression. So it does help to sort of lean on friends and family to get you out of the house and sort of, you've got that love in you. You just need someone to help push it out and be like, right, you can do this. Know you're knackered and know you've had no sleep, but let's get your shoes on and get out. And yeah, so it's sort of, for me, it's, you know, a couple of months, and the more children you have, sometimes the more difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Different elements of like, right, I need a double buggy now. I've got to have someone look after the older one, but you make a way, you know.
Is it frustrating when you start again? Is it frustrating that you're maybe not at the fitness and at the paces that you maybe were before? How do you kind of deal with that? You just have to tell yourself, look, it'll come back, or how do you deal with it?
A lot of sort of reassuring yourself that, you know, I've been fit before, I can be fit again. And it is just the whole being sensible, like not rushing it. And it's like with any, like I see it as like with an injury. If you have an injury and you have to take time out, if you rush yourself back into it, you're just going to do damage. And it's like that with, you know, post-pregnancy. Your body's been through a lot, you know, like all of your organs have been pushed up to make space for this new life. And then it's all got to go back into place again.
Yeah.
So it's just constantly reminding yourself that it's going to be a slow start. It's frustrating, but I've got to be sensible so that I don't end up putting myself out for further, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
And there are so many amazing stories now as well of people in the athletic world coming back after having children. Is there anyone kind of that you've seen that you would say that you kind of look up to in that instance?
I'd have to say someone that I've met at a couple of our races is actually Tanya Farah.
Okay.
And I've spoken to her and I think she's amazing because the fact she's got 4 children and she's got a husband who's got, you know, a full-on career that she supports, yet she still has time to get herself out and get running. And I've sort of seen her at the races with their kids on the sideline, and it's, you know, really lovely to see when mums are out there and they sort of, that's their space, you know, they're out on the track by themselves, but they've got their little ones watching, cheering them on. And to me, that's inspirational, you know. So yeah.
And for somebody that maybe is watching this and they're thinking to themselves, maybe they ran before and now they're in that process of being a new mum, or maybe having done it once before or twice or 3 times before as well. What would your advice kind of be to them if they are struggling to put on their trainers and get back out and get going again? What would you say to them?
I'd say the main thing is reach out, like tell people how you're feeling. look for, if there's any mum related groups out there, sort of mums that go like even buggy fitness, because that'll get you out into the environment. And it's sort of, remember to take it one step at a time, don't be too hard on yourself, sort of get yourself out there, and then it'll build up into getting back into running. So I think, start small, don't be hard on yourself, and mainly reach out, talk to people how you're feeling, because they'll help you get yourself out there.
And in terms of now, like you said, we're kind of, when we're speaking, we're just coming up to about the 6-week mark post your latest. What are your kind of goals when you get going again? Have you thought about what you might want to do?
Yeah, so one thing I have got in my mind is we do races at the velodrome, and they do the Kids Mile. And with my 3-year-old, she shares her birthday with the one that I've just had 6
Oh,
weeks
amazing.
ago.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the first race me and my partner did with her was the February velodrome. So that's my goal with my latest one, is to take her along to the 1 mile and get her in that buggy and get around there. And yeah, sort of, so they share the same running experience together.
And that must feel quite special as well, like going to races where there are races like that. And like you said, we've got plenty of them. RunThrough.co.uk if you want to get yourself entered up, promotion. It must feel quite nice crossing the line with the family and them all being there as well. Is that something kind of that you hold on to and feels pretty special?
Yeah, big time. Like when I was pregnant with my latest, Madison, I actually ran the 5K with the double buggy at the velodrome, and I just cried as soon as I crossed the finish line, because you're just like, it shows what your body can do, and to be able to share that with your own children, it's just fantastic. So yeah, I love watching all the families come and run together, and then to be able to be a part of that myself is just incredible. So yeah.
And finally, like, obviously coming back to running means a lot to you, and as it will do for a lot of new mums. That's because obviously running is a big part of your life. What does running mean to you?
Oh, how to put it into words. Running's everything. It's my happy place. It sounds like, a cliche strapline, but it is. It's my place to escape. I've suffered with anxiety and depression for a number of years, and it wasn't until I found running that I found, something that helped. So to me, running is everything. It's, being amongst other people that share the love of it. It's a community. It's a whole other world. So people that don't run, you're like, get yourselves out there. I don't know what you're missing.
Come and join us. Come and join the little world.
It's like, you might not like it to begin with, but trust me, you will fall in love.